All right, we're live. We're live. I'm gonna make some breakfast real quick. It is 1:26, and I kind of have to get out of here at 2:45-ish for work. So I'm gonna make some breakfast real quick. Okay, cheese, spinach, eggs, butter. And I'm gonna make some coffee too here in a little while. I'm going live. Last night I was thinking about when I traveled to London. I thought I was 19 the first time I went, and then 20 the second time I went, but I was actually 20 the first time I went to London, and then 21 the second time I went to London, because I just looked at my old passport. Which makes sense, because when I was 19, I was in South Korea for the second time, and Japan. Okay, so I'm gonna make breakfast real quick. And the reason I'm going live and just like randomly talking about my travels from 20 years ago is because, eventually I might want to write a biography and write basically like a little book about my life. And, I'm 41, so it was last night I was thinking about London, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I remember that was cool, and we went there, but I was like, God, I don't really remember that much. I was there for 4 weeks the first time and 3 weeks the second time with different friends. And so, but then I started writing down like some notes from the first trip, and then as I started writing notes, I was able to remember more and more. And the more I started writing notes, then I was like, oh, okay, I remember that, I remember this, and oh, we went there, and that happened. And then the second trip, or I'm sorry, the first trip I went actually alone. Hold on, I gotta make breakfast because I'm gonna start. For the first part of the first trip, I was solo traveler. I was there for 2.5 weeks, and it was just me. I was staying at a hostel in London. And then my buddy Josiah Adams, he met me there because we went to the Live Aid concert. So he was there for, I think, around a week. So I was kind of hanging tight. Because Josiah, he always, he was always like kind of like a money dude. He always had a bunch of money. So I was like, okay, I have to be here for 2.5 weeks till my backup comes. And then once he got there, it's like fucking restaurants. We had plenty of money. He had the tickets too. He bought the tickets online because the last Live Aid at Hyde Park in London, you had to be a British citizen to attend the concert. So he bought the tickets from a British girl online. So he came with the tickets. And so I was thinking, I'm not going to be, to be able to go to London was like a really big deal to me, when I was 20, and I wanted to go there as long as possible. So when I booked my flight, I booked my flight for like a month before the concert at Hyde Park. Heat up this butter. I've been using the Kelly Gold Irish butter lately. I think it's probably my favorite. But yeah, I remember I was going through the airport, and when I arrived to England, and I've also been doing avocado oil instead of vegetable oil lately. And I arrived to England, and they were like, well, I'm this 20-year-old kid, and they're like, well, how much, do you have money? The checkpoint, you have to have money you can't just, fly to England and have no money. They won't let you in the country because, you'd be like a bum, just like, they want to make sure you have money to feed yourself, and money to stay somewhere, so you're not soliciting or doing whatever for money. So the guy's like, well, how much money do you have? And you had to have like a minimum of like $600. And I remember I had like $660 or $640 or $50. I had a little over, I remember I had barely enough money to get in the country. It was like, because I remember my grandma, she's like, well, here, she gave me money later, but she said, just have this money, And I also spent a lot of my money at the bar before I actually flew too. So I had more money for the trip, but I was in Fullerton, and I was drinking at the stadium, and I was drinking, I was drinking. So I spent, probably a few $100s of some of my money for my trip. And so, anyways, I had enough money to get in the country. But you're thinking, well, $600, you're there for a month, your flight's for a month. That's because my grandma said, when you need money, just call me and I'll put money in your bank. So I told the guy at the airport, I also told him that. Told the officer at the airport, I was like, well, my grandma is also going to send me some money. So he's like, fair enough. Which she did, because I ran out of that $600 in like 4 days. And then she sent me $500, and then she sent me like $500 again. Okay. And yes, I was drinking at the stadium, and I was almost 21. Sorry to put you guys on blast. That was a long time ago, though. I had older friends. I was going to a lot of bars in Fullerton, even when I was like 18, 19, because I was in a band, and I had a lot of friends that were in bands, and they were all older. So I was going to basically all the bars in Fullerton because we knew the bartender. We knew, it didn't matter what bar it was, we knew all the bartenders. So I was just like with the group, And another thing is like, it wasn't like I was ordering drinks, I was like with older people sitting at a table eating, and just there was drinks at the table. Okay. Try to cover everybody up there for a second. Because I remember when I was in London, I was, I thought it was cool that I could actually order drinks without being with a huge group of people. Because London is like 18 and older, I think, to order alcohol. Okay, so I just made these eggs. I also had a fake ID too when I was 19. Oh man, it's crazy when you start talking about like back in the day stories. All of a sudden, you start remembering more shit with each story. So I'm glad I'm going over this. Okay, so my eggs. I'm gonna add some spinach. I'm gonna add the rest of the spinach in here. Yeah, this is like 20 years ago, you know. So I don't really feel like I feel all right talking about like the nitty gritty. Nitty gritty. Talk about the nitty gritty. Talking about the nitty gritty. There you go. That could be the name of one of my new songs. The nitty gritty. Damn, this heater is up high. No wonder it's just cooking so fast. Woo! Love some spinach and some oil and butter. So good. Come on. So, actually, you know, we could turn this off. We did. Okay, good. So, you guys see me? So, everybody, like back in the day, used to get their fake ID at this place on Harbor Boulevard. Like right before you get into Old Town Fullerton, you know, right before you go under the bridge, welcome to downtown Fullerton, or whatever it says, Old Town Fullerton. There was this place on the right-hand side, right before you get into downtown on Harbor, and you basically could custom your ID, and you put like another state on it, because people at the door, I'm sure things have evolved. Like this was like 22 years ago, 21 years ago. But back in the day, people didn't know, like your average guy working at the bar, he was only there for like 4 hours working the door. You know, they want people in the bar anyways to buy drinks. And usually it's some dude that was like 22 or something, and he doesn't fucking know what an ID from like Kansas or Idaho looks like, or fucking whatever, you know, Massachusetts. I think mine says Massachusetts. You know, he's not gonna, like, back in the day, you couldn't like Google or whatever, like, what does an ID from Massachusetts look like? So they just didn't fucking know. So it just showed that you were over 21, and it showed another state. And they're like, come on in. And to be honest, you know, I'm sure like half of these guys knew it was fake, but they did their job. They carded me. It says I was over 21, and they could always just say, well, hey, you know, this fucking license was from another state. How am I supposed to know what every license is supposed to look like from around the country? So I was able to, you know, that ID, I'll be honest, it didn't work everywhere. It probably actually only worked half of the time. It looked fake as fuck. But usually I didn't need the ID because I was with like all these Fullerton people, you know, the Fullerton hipster crowd. There's like a whole group of bar hoppers. Everybody kind of knew each other. They were all in like their late 20s or early 30s. I was, you know, 19, hanging out with all these older cats. When I cuss, Ginger, she's so cute. When I cuss, she like looks up at me. She looks up at me at the side of her eye like, you just said the F word. Sorry. Okay, so also I've been doing celery salt. Celery salt has less sodium. Black pepper. Just this is some like old school. This is some old school. Put a little on the spinach. This is just like your old McCormick, you know. This is like the old school shit people used in the 70s. I'm gonna put a little celery salt actually on the spinach too. Okay. Oh shit, you know what? I totally forgot to put the cheese on, so I'm just not gonna do cheese for this breakfast. Doesn't need it anyways. Usually I melt a little cheese on there, but we're going old school. We're just going eggs, spinach, straight up. Straight up now, tell me, do you really want to love me forever? Oh, 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 is it a hit and run? Do, 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 do. That's such a good song. I'm sorry, I know that's like 90s pop, but that's so good. It's a good song. Straight up now, tell me, do you really wanna love me forever? Oh, oh, oh. Or is it just a hit and run? So, I get into London, right? I got $600 on me. I change it to British money, so now it's like $450 or whatever. It's like, shit, I'm losing money already. Like, I just got in this country and it's already going down. It's going down. Oh, this is gonna be bomb. It's gonna be straight up bomb diggity. Oh wow. Oh shit. This spinach is cooked. Oh man, this looks good. Oh, look at that. Old school, y'all. Old school. We got the jarritos. We got the jarritos. And we got just a straight up 2 eggs, spinach, doused in salt, celery, salt, and pepper. Damn, that looks good. Right. Boom. All right. Oh, we gotta make some coffee too, real quick. Make some coffee. So, I get into London, and I did have somewhat of a game plan. It wasn't like I just, showed up, had 450 pounds with nowhere to go. I did research, and I found myself a hostel that looked legit. I researched it online, and it was affordable. It was like 17 pounds a night, which was definitely in my budget. Dude, I must be getting older or something. I'm starting to stutter my words like my godson. My godson does that. He's like, I think he is older than me, so I think that starts happening. Or maybe it's because I'm nervous. I'm talking on YouTube. I don't know, but I'm like, which was in my budget. Okay, let's see. I love my godson. Or, I'm sorry, not my godson. So, my god brother. I only have like 4 godchildren. No, but I have probably like 100 god brothers and sisters. My godfather in the church, he's just like, so many people asked him to be their godfather, so, okay. I don't know, I feel like, it's good. It's good, dude. Don't overthink it. It's just water. Be little specks in there. Okay, so coffee, creamer. Man, I swear, the older I get, the longer it takes to get going. And now it's like vitamin C, vitamin D. Got to make coffee, breakfast. I never did all this stuff when you're young. You just go. You go to get coffee somewhere or something. So I go to this hostel and I take the train from Heathrow Airport to London, and right away I get like some British culture. There's this black dude in, business clothes reading the paper, and we're just sitting on this train going to London, and he's all, you see that factory over there? I'm like, yeah, that factory. He's all, that's the factory from Pink Floyd's album Pigs. Right here. Look at this one actually. And I'm like, oh, that's amazing, I'm a Pink Floyd fan. Thanks for pointing that out to me. I would have just never noticed that. And so right away, and it's just like different. It's just, this guy was just so British, even though he was black, he's a black man. He just was so English. And I just wasn't, used to that, being from America and stuff. And so right away, I'm like, man, this is different here. All right, coffee's ready. We're just two lost souls swimming in a fishbowl, year after year, swimming over the same old grounds. How we found the same old fears. Wish you were here. Pink Floyd, Wish You Were Here. I used to play that song when I was like 13 years old. It's a sweet song. It's a really sweet song. We're just two lost souls swimming in a fishbowl, year after year, swimming over the same old grounds. How we found the same old fears. Wish you were here. Down, 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 down. Down, 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 down. Down, 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 down. I mean, I played that whole song. I knew the riff and everything. I don't think I remember it now, but I had that song down. That was like one of the songs I could play. It's like, I could play you a song. I could play you Wish You Were Here. I was able to do the whole song, start to finish, perfectly. And, obviously I was younger, so I was probably singing it. I was like, we're just two lost souls swimming in a fishbowl, year after year, swimming over the same old grounds. How we found the same old fears. I had like my Michael Jackson voice going. Oh, that's so good. Coffee's getting better and better tasting the older I get. Damn. I saw Roger Waters. I've seen Roger Waters a few times actually. Just happens, man. I think we're a little bit kindred spirits, Roger and I. David Gilmour is my favorite guitar player. He's definitely, just straight up, I think he's actually my favorite guitar player. Him, Eric Clapton, obviously Jimmy Page. There's some, yeah, man. I mean, I like the greats, Oh, that's good. That's good. That's good. Put a little more creamer in there. Sweeten it up with just a tad. Just a bit. Just put a bit of creamer in there. Sweeten it up a tad. Put a little tit of creamer. Put a little tit of creamer in there. Sweeten it up a little bit. You'll put a little tit in there for me, please. Sweeten it up a little bit. Okay. I think I could retire to the couch now. Bring my coffee over there first. Oh, that's good. All right. It's gonna be a long one, folks. It's gonna be a long one. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get out of here at 2:30. I got about 40 minutes, 2:45, so I got about an hour. Ginge is accommodating me. She's like, "Oh God, damn, you going live again?" Ginger, you're funny. Bring a bunch of $2 bills over here. I don't know why. It just feels right. Feels like the right thing to do. All right. Breakfast, Mexican soda. What else do I need? Get anything else I need later. I don't think I need this fan on. It's been very gray and cool lately. You know, we're in May, gray May, and it's really nice actually. The weather, it's been very cool and not sunny, but not cold. You know, stop shaking. The last like 3 weeks, but it's been so fucking windy. It's been so obnoxiously windy. It makes you not even want to go anywhere or do anything. Bring my notes over here. Put on my rings. Okay. Notes and rings. Oh, turn off the lights. Fuck. What? It's nice and dark in here. Okay, so if you're tuning in, if you're just now tuning in, I went to London a few times when I was younger, and I had extended stays. Ginger, no, you're not gonna like this. It's just eggs. Damn, that's good. She would eat it though. The celery salt with the pepper gives it celery salt. It just makes it taste more earthy and organic. A couple eggs, spinach. I cook the eggs in Kelly Gold butter, avocado oil, and then I put celery salt, has less sodium, and pepper. And it's just so good. It's so simple, yet so good. Damn. The oil and the butter, the celery salt, the pepper, the way the flavors mix up together, it's just incredible. Mmm. Gotta love those crunchy ends. Damn. So. Back. I don't know if I'm going to get to all of this because I just want to go back to bed now. I just ate and I'm just like, all right, day's done. We're just going back to bed until about 9 o'clock. Then I'll get up and start working on music. No, I just slept for 12 hours straight. And so I check into this hostel. I bought a bottle of vodka on the plane. Ginger, ooh, ooh. You could sit here. I don't want you creeping around me and shit, orbiting, like licking me, looking at me, being a little weirdo, shaking and shit, freaking me out. So I bought a bottle of vodka on the plane. So I don't know how the law or rules was, but I remember not being 21 and buying a bottle of vodka on the fucking flight with the stewardess. I don't know how. I don't know if I got a menu or I don't know. I bought it. I know I had the vodka bottle on the plane. I'm thinking, did I get it at the airport? I had to have got it at like the airport or so. I don't know how. If I forget, it was a long time ago. If I got the bottle of vodka on the plane, which I think I did, or if, yeah, I think I really do. I think I actually bought. It was a giant bottle of vodka. It wasn't like just like a small little thin little souvenir bottle of. It was like this huge, fucking giant big ass bottle of vodka I bought on the plane. And I remember I stuffed it in my backpack and I'm like, okay, cool. Cause I'm at this, I'm 20 years old. I've been drinking. I'm drinking at 20. I mean, I'm drinking like I'm 6 beers is warm up, that's just before I go out, so I get myself a giant bottle of vodka and I stuff it in my backpack. And I remember it just barely being able to zip up. Just like, I barely got that thing in there. And so I take the train to London. I talk to the black guy. I know it sounds like a fucking like a mission or something. But I remember having the address to the hostel but the streets were so confusing in London, meaning I remember this is not in my notes, but as I'm talking about this, I remember this. Like Orange County, like where I'm from, like Beach Boulevard or Lincoln or whatever street, it just goes forever. The street goes forever. Where in London, where I was, at each light, the street would change the name. So it was confusing because I'm used to just like once you get on the street, you just go until you hit the address. Where in London, the names kept changing at every light. So I had to. Now I'm already an experienced traveler. Okay, I'm 20 years old in London, but I lived in Chicago. I navigated myself. I took the train to Chicago from Fullerton train station. It's like a 4-day trip on Amtrak. I've been to Japan. I've lived in South Korea. I've been to South Korea. I've been to Mexico multiple times. I've been to Canada. So I've been to every state in the country except Hawaii and Alaska, but I've been to literally every other state on the mainland. So I'm not, new to traveling. I know what's up. I got my passport like secured and I think I even had like the necklace thing and the passport was like underneath my shirt. I had money in like multiple places. I had money in my backpack, in my pants, just I had everything, locked, zipped, just like organized, ready to go. So anyways, I have no problem asking people, hey, where's this street? Where's this address? So I have to ask like 3 to 4 people. This is before cell phones. I did not have a cell phone in London. I remember calling my grandma on like a payphone. And I didn't have a cell phone when I went to Korea both times either. So back in the day, you had to ask people, where is this street? Where is this address? So I'm asking people on the way to this hostel. Even when I knew where it was, I was still like double checking with like each person I walked by, like, hey, is it this street down here? Yeah, right, that way, mate. So anyways, I get to the hostel, and the 17 pounds a night, I did not have my own room. You know, it was a giant room, like probably the size of this living room, with just little tiny beds, almost like cots. You know, like little, almost like military cots. They weren't beds. You know, we didn't have beds. We just had little sleeping cots. And I remember just getting to my cot and setting my backpack down, going, damn, okay, I made it. You know, I'm at the hostel. I'm going to be here for a little while. And everybody at the hostel was cool. Like, everybody even left their crap in the room. There's like the pirate code, you know, there's like a hostel code, the traveler's law, you know, you're cool with people. And so like, I remember even, you know, leaving, I would never leave, you know, my passport, my money in the room. I wasn't a fucking idiot, but I would leave my backpack and my clothes in the room. So I'd have my backpack, you know, underneath, you know, this little cot thing. Um, so, um, but yeah, I remember, like, uh, the first couple nights I was at the hostel, like I broke out the vodka bottle and started drinking with people at the hostel, and it was people from all around the world. You know, just like when you watch the Travel Channel, there's people from all over Europe. There was people from Canada, America, anywhere you could think of. You know, people from all around the world, and there's, you know, Ukrainians. You know, there's just all these different types of people, and so yeah, it was like I remember like drinking shots with vodka and just, you know, just kind of talking to people and stuff. And then I found this. I'm not even going off the notes here. We're just going freestyle. So yeah, I do. I remember I found this bar that was kind of near the hostel, and I remember it was a bar that it was like the first floor of a building, of a big building. I remember they were working on the building, so they had, you know, that little construction overpass thing, and there was like a bar, and I remember it was, I don't know if he wasn't English. I mean, he was English, but he wasn't, you know, white basically. But he was, I don't know if he was like Armenian or from Serbia or what, but it was just some bartender there, and you know, Dos Equis was my favorite beer at the time, and I went to that bar, you know, like 5 or 6 times. You know, it's kind of like the place it's just, there, it seemed like there's no one ever there, and it was close to the hostel. And so I'd go there and have some Dos Equis. And um, I remember before my buddy Josiah arrived, I went to the Salvador Dali Museum with this Asian girl that I met. I remember she wore this white fur coat. That's crazy. Similar to, dude, it's like some fucking MK Ultra shit. Like, that's crazy because my girlfriend in South Korea wore a white fur coat. So it's like, what's up with all these? I just thought about that now. All these Asian girls with white fur coats. So, anyways, she was Japanese and she didn't speak really any English at all. But you know, we ended up going to the Salvador Dali Museum, which was cool. It was an exhibit. I don't know if it's still there, if they just had it up for like a month or two, or if it's always there, but just a lot of Salvador Dali. I mean, that guy did so much art and so much work. Because I think there's multiple. No, no, Ginger. This is my breakfast. You have dog food. You had hamburger last night. You had hamburger. You're not gonna have spinach and eggs. It's ridiculous. Salvador Dali Museum was incredible. That was a great. I just really remember that. Um, marijuana. Let's get to it. Okay, I'm a total fucking pothead in California. So obviously I didn't bring any marijuana like on the plane. I'm not retarded, you know. Um, and so I was just like, okay, back in this, I don't know if marijuana is legal in London or England now, but when I went, marijuana was not legal. You cannot go to a fucking store and buy marijuana anywhere, and you can't just you can't. It was illegal. I don't even know the legal like laws. You know, I know in California, back 21 years ago, I mean, you could go to jail for having like an eighth of weed. Now, you most likely would not. Usually it was a ticket. It was a ticket because everybody smoked weed, so it's just a ticket. You get a ticket. But technically the cop was able to, you know, if he wanted to, you know, send you to jail. So smoking weed was something people hid. And if you were driving around smoking weed and the car smelled like weed, you were going to jail for driving under the influence. So and obviously we all smoked weed driving around and stuff. So everything was very. So anyways, I go to London and I'm like, actually met up with this. I just randomly met this dude that was a babysitter. That was his job. He babysitted. He was rich people's kids. He babysitted rich people's kids. Anyways, he was smoking a spliff, and I forget if he was just at this river or if I met him at somewhere else. I probably met him at a bar, most likely. I think I did. Yeah, I think I met him in a bar, and we were talking about weed. And he's like, "Hey, tomorrow meet me. We'll smoke at this river." And so I meet him, and then he's like has his weed. He's breaking up his weed, and he makes a spliff, which was a culture shock to me. You know, I know what a spliff is, but it's just nobody smokes spliffs in California. So he's like rolled up half tobacco, half weed. And obviously, you know, I'm in another country. I'm down to smoke how they smoke. And anyways, I'm smoking the spliff with them. I'm like, this is actually really good. You know, the tobacco, it's like nice flavor with the weed, you know, is actually a nice high and stuff. And so I remember, and then he gave me like a gram of weed, like a little like nug of weed. I'm like, oh my God, dude, are you serious? He's all, yeah, man. He's all, yeah, mate, it's for your travels, you know? And so I was like, oh, fuck, I have weed now, you know? This was like 3 or 4 days into the trip. And I know Josiah's not coming for at least another 9 days. So I'm like, oh, fuck, I have weed. I remember I was able to smoke weed for the Salvador Dali exhibit museum, which was awesome. So I don't know, I forget if I used like an apple or if I bought some rolling papers. But I was just very, like, tiny little fucking tokes. I only had, like, a gram, you know, to last me, like, 9 days. So I would just fucking take a tiny fucking hit. Fucking hold it in for, like, a fucking minute. Just, like, one little fucking micro hit. Like, oh, yeah, that's fucking good. Fuck, I'm high. I'm so fucking high right now. So I was taking, like, all these, like, little baby micro hits for you know, take like a couple a day. And it was like perfect though. So you take like a little fucking micro hit, you hold it in, and you get like a chill fucking high, you know, some mid grades, and then you know you go to start drinking, you know. And so yeah, but that was really cool. If that dude ever sees this video, thank you, good sir. Totally appreciated that. And I hope you're doing well. So let's see. That's after. Okay, we'll just jump to Josiah arrives. All of a sudden now I'm at a hotel. My buddy Josiah's, you know, he has more money than me. So now we're at like a fucking hotel. We do the Live Aid concert. It's incredible. You know, the Killers played. I think when we were walking in, it was the Killers that were playing, and they weren't super, super big. You know, do the math, you know. So it was 2005 when I was at the Live Aid concert. So yeah, they were. I mean, they might have been popular, but we didn't really fucking know who they were. Josiah did. I'm like, who's this playing right now? He's all, I think it's the Killers. Like they weren't. Where now, if you heard the Killers playing, if you heard their music, you would know, oh, that's the Killers. You know their songs. But back then, they were still kind of like new. Um, so the Killers, U2, Annie Lennox, Pink Floyd, was what everybody went there to see Pink Floyd. Basically, is Roger Waters, David Gilmour on stage for the first time in like 20 years. They had not played together in a long time, so to see the original lineup of Pink Floyd, I mean, you can't see the original lineup of Pink Floyd anymore, you know. So, I mean, those guys aren't probably not going to play together again. Yeah, Pink Floyd is why we went. You know, Pink Floyd. Pink Floyd's always been probably one of my favorite bands for sure. I'll be honest. There's a lot of bands that played at Live Aid, but I will say, you know, Pink Floyd and The Who was the best. And Paul McCartney was Sir Paul McCartney was obviously the headliner to the event. But I will be, you know, I love Paul McCartney. I love the Beatles. So unbelievably talented. But Pink Floyd and The Who took that show. And you could tell by the audience participation, meaning like The Who and then Pink Floyd. And then it was almost like the show was done. People were actually even leaving because we were all there all day long. We were there for like 15 hours. So people are actually like walking out during Paul McCartney's set because everyone's like, okay, I just saw The Who and Pink Floyd. It's getting late, you know. Not everybody walked out, but there was people were starting to kind of trickle out of the venue. We even left like towards the end of his set. He only played like 4 songs. That's the thing about Live Aid. It's a benefit concert. So, you know, there was so many bands that played, but everybody only played 4 songs. That was the thing. Everybody gets to play 4 songs, which was cool. So it's just, you see one incredible band after another. You know, it's The Who, and then 25 minutes later, it's Pink Floyd, you know. An hour later, it was U2 and Annie Lennox. And so it's just, it was great because, you know, you're just, and I remember we had, somebody started passing a joint around during Pink Floyd. So, you know, we didn't have any weed, you know, that we went to that concert without having weed. And Josiah and I, back in California, we had our own apartment. I mean, we were huge fucking stoners, dude. I mean, we were heavily into the marijuana culture. We had all different kind of glass bongs, pipes, all different types. You know, we were all into weed and shit. So we just had a couple bottles of red wine. And so we were just like sipping on red wine all day long, enjoying the day, enjoying the music at Hyde Park, 500,000 people. And then, but like right when Pink Floyd started playing, some fucking God, some fucking angel of the Lord just fucking rolled a fucking joint around and it just went our way. It was just going down the line. And I get handed a joint and it's like a fucking half a joint. I'm like, really? Fuck, puff, puff, pass, right? This is how you guys do it here too? You know, and fuck yeah, dude. Fucking pass it to Josiah. He fucking hits it. Dude, right when we were buzzing too. You know, we're fucking like already bottle of wine deep. We got the second bottle of wine going. Dude, that fucking weed came at perfect time. Thank you so much. You know, and then fucking watching Pink Floyd live. Just fucking incredible. So incredible. You know, I do wish, though, I experienced all that completely sober. But it doesn't really matter because when you're young, you can't really remember shit anyways. Like when you're 20, because or at least with my mind, you know, your mind's thinking so quickly. So I do remember the show. You know, I remember the fucking heartbeats. You know, I remember the atmosphere and stuff, but I don't really remember well, obviously too, it was like we were way back. I mean, you couldn't really see the people. What it was, do you know what fucking sucks? Is that's like before cell phones. So I wish that was about a year or two before everybody had cell phones and everybody took pictures of everything. So I had no cell phone on me the first time I went to London. And I don't think I had a cell phone the second time I went either. And so, yeah, because I remember the second time I went, we had pictures. I did take pictures. I had a fucking like that little yellow disposable camera. So there's pictures out there somewhere of Josiah and I in London. And I took pictures. I remember I bought a bunch of shit the second time I went to London. I bought all this like British stuff, like t-shirts, all this souvenir shit, and I fucking left the bag somewhere. I was at some bar or something, and I bought all these gifts for my family and everything. I left it. But anyways, I just wish I had like pictures of that concert. You know, Pink Floyd, pictures of Josiah and I fucking drinking wine and shit. Like you would document an event like that, like fucking crazy. I mean, could you imagine if I or you or anybody went to such a mega concert like that? You'd be fucking taking pictures like crazy. You know, you'd be like pictures of Pink Floyd, of your buddy drinking wine. Oh, fuck, whoa, dude, whoa, take pictures, fucking everything. Video it, dude. Video me running through the fucking crowd or whatever, you know, just, but back in those days, people didn't do that shit. Nobody had a cell phone. Nobody was taking pictures of fucking anything, you know? We were just all there, which was cool because, like, I am literally could say I'm the last generation of someone that went to festivals and concerts without cell phones because just a few years after me, it was all cell phones. So I could literally say I am literally the last generation of experiencing events like that without social platforms, without cell phones. And it was cool because it's like I wish I did have a bunch of pictures. I do have some pictures. Like there's a picture of Josiah Adams and I, and we're on Abbey Road, you know, where the Beatles were walking, and we're fucking doing, you know, we're like walking around like we're George Harrison and John Lennon, you know. There is pictures of us in London, but it's not like pictures of everything. I wish I had pictures of everything, especially the Live Aid show. But I remember it, you know, somewhat. And so that's why I'm talking about it and writing notes and stuff, to kind of refresh those amazing, special memories of going to London, doing Live Aid. So another I have on the note, I remember, God, we met these French girls. And we met them at a bar. And Josiah and I, we were in a band, and we had a 4-song, we had this little EP, this little 4-song EP. And I don't know, someone's texting me. Okay. Wow, it's almost already an hour. Okay, I might have to get to the second part of London. My second trip I might have to get to next time. Because it's almost 2:30, and you know, I slept until 12:30, so I haven't really done too much. So anyways, we met these French girls at a pub, and they're like, you know, come over to, it was weird, you know, it's Europe, so it's Europe stuff. It was all these French girls, college girls living in a dorm. There was like 10 of them, and they had a French overseer, this female that was like 33 or whatever, watching the French girls that were our age, 20, 21 years old. And so even though it was their dorm, it wasn't a party. It seemed like supervised or something. So anyways, we meet them at a pub. They invite us to the dorm, whatever, the next day. And I remember we went to the dorm, and they opened the door, and then right away they give us, you know, the French kiss. And it was so strange to Josiah and I being from California. That was such a culture shock. A girl would never kiss you on the cheek, especially at 20, 21 years old. I mean, we weren't Catholic growing up. We went to Calvary Chapel. So that was just way fucking, we loved it. I mean, it was, you felt so much like love and warmth, you know, and just, in a good way. But I just remember, and I even wrote, one of my songs I've written. I got to record it, but those are some of the lyrics. Like, she kisses me the first time on both sides, or first time I ever laid eyes on her. She kissed me on both sides of the cheek, something like that. I have the lyrics, but I wrote a song about that moment. So we go to these French girls' house, and they're unbelievably attractive. One is a redhead, the other one's like brunette, but they're just like unbelievably attractive French girls. And we talked about that shit for years after. Like, you remember those French girls, dude? Fuck, they were hot, you know? And so, anyways, we went to their dorm, and right away, the redhead kisses me on both sides, and I'm fucking 6'4", 20 years old, and I'm like a hipster. I look like a fucking bum, you know. No, I didn't look like a bum. We actually wore expensive clothes. We were Ben Sherman. I actually remember what I was wearing. I was wearing a Ben Sherman jacket, this hipster jacket, Diesel shoes, Diesel jeans. So my jeans were like 300, my shoes were 300. So I was wearing expensive clothes, but I just looked like a rocker, is what I'm trying to say. So, and I had my hair is kind of like charged up but short. And so I go, and anyways, we hang out at this dorm for like a couple hours, and we had, some wine. But that overseer girl was there, like the older French lady was like there the entire time, and you could tell she was not fucking leaving, but she was cool. But anyways, we were just talking to these two French girls and the overseer French girl, and we're just sitting and talking about like America and France and just talking, for like 2 hours, drinking wine, and then we left. And I think we gave him a copy of our 4-song EP. We brought like, back in those days, we're like, dude, we'll pass out our EPs, bro. We're going to be famous. We brought like 10 fucking CDs. So we passed them out. I did that in Korea too. I remember I was passing out little 4-song EPs. I brought like 10 CDs. And it's funny to think that somewhere out there, somebody has these old fucking recordings that I don't know if they kept them or if they put them in a drawer or if they're, in a closet or something, but somewhere out there, there's these old recordings I did, when I was 18, 19, and I would travel around the world and pass out these EPs. So that was just one of those moments when you're traveling and you're in another country, but you start hanging out with someone from like another country, and it's just this cool dynamic. Okay. So I fucking love London. I would live in London. And I've traveled a lot. London is one of the only two places that I felt completely like I was at home. And I have ancestral family from London, so I have a great grandpa that is from England. He's, when you do your DNA test, he's the farthest down the line. It's, England. John Wales, some Scandinavian dude that lived in London. So, I have like my family more or less is from Scotland, England, and Ireland. So when I was in England, I felt deep in my soul, that I was, home again. Like I felt like I was, my soul felt settled there. Like I felt evened out there or something. London's, as I say, London is a brilliant city. Obviously we took the underground train system they have everywhere. Very fast pace. I'm looking at my notes. French girls at college dorm, kiss on cheek, going to pubs, meeting the babysitter, smoking weed, spliff. He gave me some weed. Just all the little notes I just talked about. It's just kind of funny. Vodka bottle, Salvador Dali Museum. That's awesome. Yeah, but I remember when you go to pubs in London, it's different than America. There's just so much detail in all these pubs. You're in England. You sit at some table. You're at you're in a pub and you're at some table and there's like little carvings and little crests and little lions. There's all this like woodwork and everything is all just detailed, and it's just nice. I mean, there's bars like that in America too. You go to the Old Ship in Fullerton. There's even in Portland. There's wow, what's that Irish place on the 23rd Street? That big. It's either 21st. I think it's 21st Street. Actually, there's that big Irish restaurant. I went there a couple times. But that bar kind of reminded me of England, and so yeah, it was incredible, to go to London, and then I went again. I went to London again the following year with Justin Willits, Justin from Random Land. He's a YouTuber, so I went to London with Justin and Aisha, his wife at the time, and our bass player, Matt. Matt Hatchett. It's like, is your last name really Hatchet, dude? Like Hatchet? Hatcher, or whatever his last name is. So we went with Matt, Justin, Aisha. And also an incredible time. But the thing is when you travel with Justin, obviously, you could see from his YouTube videos. I mean, we didn't just go there and hang out at bars. I mean, we were going to like museums, castles, tours. He's like, we got to go to this castle now. We got to go to the bridge. We got to go to the Tower Bridge. We had all this stuff he wanted to see, and he knew all of these like historical facts about each little place we went. He's like, did you know this castle? Da, 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 da. So we did a lot of more of the tourist stuff with Justin. And then Justin is a huge fan of The Clash, Joe Strummer, The Clash. So we did a lot of Clash, like this is where The Clash used to rehearse. This is where Joe Strummer used to hang out. We went to like the little area where The Clash was from. But yeah, that was, I'll have to do another YouTube video on the second trip, man. I remember Justin, it was freezing effing cold when we went to London with Justin, Aisha, and Matt. It was so unbelievably, it was Chicago cold. It hurt. It was so cold. And Justin, he has this fucking ski mask on, and he has this like leather jacket. He's all punk rock. It's a ski mask on. I remember this cop, this British police officer. He's like, "Oi!" He's like, "Take that mask off." So you can't wear that mask walking around. And I remember we had to take off the mask. It's just that shit made me laugh. I remember we were at some castle doing some tour in London, and Aisha and I we're literally walking like just like a movie. You know how the castles have those little walkways at the top of the castle? We're literally like walking around this castle at the top of the castle, and we were so fucking cold. I remember Aisha and I, we started fucking laughing. We're like belly laughing. We were laughing so hard we were crying because she was just like, it's so cold, and her face, and she was just like, she's like, oh, it hurts. It's just so cold. And I was like, fuck, it is cold. Oh my God, it's so fucking cold up on the top of this castle. And we just started fucking laughing. Oh my God. We were fucking laughing so hard. I just will never forget that. So I remember too, the second time we went to London, we stayed at a few different places. And I remember for like 4 or 5 nights, Justin somehow, Justin's always been internet savvy. He was doing all the shit on the internet before anybody was doing it. Our band had a MySpace. We each had our little like I had my fans. I had like 500 girl fans, and everybody had their little section of fans. But I remember, but not for long. No, just kidding. No, we were in that band for a while, man. The Discarded, we were playing and performing for, I would say, like a good 3 years of actively playing shows and albums and stuff. So, but anyways, we somehow, Justin met somebody online that was like, you could, stay at all four of you could stay at my flat for whatever, like 30 pounds a night or some shit like that. And it was like this black dude, and he was always gone. He got in real late. He got in at like 1 o'clock. And I remember we didn't have a key to his place, so we'd have to like meet him kind of when he was getting home. So I remember like we'd be standing outside, and he would like come up on his bike, it was like 12:30, and then he'd let us in the flat. I remember we're sleeping on the floor, and I remember I was detoxing off of weed. I did buy some weed too the second time I was in London from this fucking Pakistani and like street dealer or something. But I remember detoxing when we were staying at that black dude's flat. I remember detoxing and just like sleeping on the floor, and it was all freezing. I had two pairs of jeans on. I had like my jean jacket. I can't even remember if I had a fucking blanket, but I'm just like on the floor with my jacket, and I'm just fucking just sweating like I jumped in a swimming pool because I'm detoxing from all the weed I was smoking in California, and I'm just dripping in sweat, and I can't sleep and shit, and I'm on the fucking floor, and I'm just like, fuck, it's just like, this fucking sucks, dude. I was just like, I can't wait till I remember I'd sleep like 4 hours a night, and then we'd wake up, and it's like, okay, and I was always the one, ask Justin, anybody, I was like, we need to go to the fucking pub right now, and I need a vodka tonic because I'm fucking detoxing. And so they were like, okay, Trevor needs a drink. He's getting in a mood again. So we would go to the fucking pub. Aisha and I would get vodka tonics, and then Justin and Matt would get beers. And so I'd get a fucking drink in me. I'm like, okay, woo, okay, I'm feeling better. So then we do some touristy type things, and then like 2 hours later we get another drink. And then pretty soon, like as the day went on, we'd like almost like pub hop, where we would just, go get a vodka tonic at this pub, then go to the next pub. But it was so cold in London that you would have a vodka tonic and start feeling like a little buzzed. And then by the time you walk to the next pub, whatever, a 25-minute walk in freezing cold weather, you're like sober up again. So you're like, fuck, I'm sober again. And you have another drink. And then, so even though we were drinking a lot, it seemed like we never got drunk because it was just too fucking cold, and we were never at any place long enough. And I remember pubs like closed at whatever, like 11. And we're from California, and we're 21 at this point. The second time I went to London, I was 21. So I'm, been going to bars for 3 to 4 years in California. I already told you about all that. So anyways, we are all used to bars being open till 2. So I remember we were, she's like, she's so cute. Oh, okay, brother's almost done with his live. And she's so fucking cute. Look at her. Look at her. She is so fucking cute. He said, okay, man, chill out, bro. Man, bun her ponytail. Okay, so, I remember all bars were closing, or all pubs closed at 11 o'clock. And we were, hold on, I gotta heat my coffee up. It's not cold. Ugh. Can't believe it's 2:34. Oh my gosh. Look at little gingies. Gingy. Gingy. Man bun or ponytail? Oh, right now it is man bun. Man bun. I know, man bun's like the worst thing you could do. Okay. Speaking of detoxing, I feel like I'm fucking detoxing now from my extract kratom I take. Ugh. I've been sober for, like, I haven't had a drink in 2 years and 2 months, and I don't smoke weed or anything, so it's like, man, I'm still fucking detoxing. Hear the wind? Man, it's intense. So anyways, we're at this pub, you know, most nights drinking a vodka tonic, and you know, everything is pounds. You have pounds instead of dollars. So I always remember I had, you know, a pocket full of whatever, like 30, 40 pounds in my pocket. And then I had money in my wallet. So you pay whatever, was it like 6 or 7 pounds for, you know, vodka drink. And then, but I remember, you know, the pubs would close at 11 and we're like, fuck, you know, we're just warming up, you know, let's, we're ready to go. You know, we're getting our drunk on, you know, we're just like starting to feel good and shit, you know, we're drinking fucking vodka tonics, you know, it was like, I'm fucking ready for another one, you know? So anyways, we went to this, we went to this cause you know, we're rockers, we're into like old school punk rock music and stuff. So we're not, you know, like modern people, you know, even though we were young. And so I remember we wanted to drink more. And so we went to this club and Justin, Aisha, and I, we're not club people, you know, we're talking about like, apple bottom jeans with the curve, you know, it's like hip hop fucking, um, what up, gangsta? You know, it's just, it was fucking like modern fucking hip hop club music. And I remember like, and there was all these, you know, Pakistani people. I don't know. It did seem like there was a lot of, you know, there was not all white people in there, you know, it was just modern, you know, ethnic kind of just like in LA, you know. And so we get in this club and we had to pay, you know, it was like 10 pounds or something to get in this club. None of us wanted to pay any money to go have a drink, but we paid the 10 pounds. And I remember we were just so out of place because we were still kind of dressing like punk rockers there. So we looked like punk rockers and we're in this, you know, club and in London, and I remember I had 2 pairs of pants on because it's fucking cold, you know. I'm like freezing my fucking ass off. So I remember I'm in this club, I'm starting to warm up, I'm drinking, I get a double vodka, I'm like, I'll get a double vodka tonic, you know, I'll get another double vodka tonic. It's like 12:30 or 1. Anyways, I remember taking off one pair of my pants. I took off the outer layer of pants, and Justin and I were like, what are you doing, dude? And I was like, it's okay, I have 2 pairs of pants on. I took off one pair of pants, and then I went in the club, or I went on the dance floor, and I started fucking dancing and shit. Oh, man, that was crazy. I started dancing with all these girls and shit, and I was like, was fucking on the dance floor for a while, just all drunk and saucy, and damn, dude, that shit was fun, though. That, I had, and again, no cell phones. Okay, so wouldn't that be nice? That's a fucking post right there. Went to a fucking club in downtown London. You know, I would have taken a picture of something, you know, at the bar or out front or something. I would have documented that. That was a social platform moment. But there was no fucking cell phones. So my whole, you know, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. I didn't really get a cell phone until I was like 23. I had a flip phone, you know. I remember I had a flip phone in Fullerton, and I remember I smashed it. I was getting pissed off about something. But because I'm trying to, my timeline, I'm trying to do. Because, yeah, that's crazy that I went to London twice before I met Desiree, because I went to Montana when I was 22, and I went to London when I was 20, 21. So I had all this like life and travel experience, and then I met this Native American girl that's never been anywhere. Only places she's been was New Mexico and Montana, like 2 places. That's it, you know. And I've been like to every state. I've been all around the world. So it's just crazy that I did all that shit before I met Desiree. Then I met Desiree. That's wild. It's just, I look back at it and it feels like for some reason that all those London trips should be after Desiree, but they were not at all. They were completely before. It just feels, there's just 2 times in my life when I was like traveling a lot, Japan, South Korea, London. I was working in Hollywood. I was working at a rehearsal studio in Hollywood, and then before that, I was working at the rehearsal studio in Hollywood first when I was 18, and then when I was 19, I was a waiter at a really nice Mexican restaurant for almost a year, and that's how I made a lot of money to travel. I was making like around $160 a day plus my check. So I was able to easily put away $600-700 a week. So that's how I was able to, I recorded an album. I was recording music. I was, traveling, just doing a bunch of stuff. But a lot of money to weed, buying a lot of weed and stuff. Beer. Yeah, I remember living in Claremont, working at the Mexican restaurant. It's not there anymore. It's Elvira's now. It used to be called Casa de Salsa. And so I remember my buddy Drew worked at the Candlelight Pavilion, which is in the same parking lot. And we're both 19 and we both have really long hair. I remember we met in the parking lot. Like I was getting off work, going to my car. He was getting off work, going to his car. And we just started talking about music and shit. It's like, do you smoke weed? Yeah, dude. I smoke weed too. We fucking smoke a bowl pretty soon. We're basically buddies. But we are still friends. I mean, Drew and I are still friends like 22 years later. And but I remember we would get off work and he was also making tip money. He didn't make nearly as much as me because the Candlelight Pavilion. So he would make like maybe like $40 or $50 and I would make, almost $200, And so I remember, like back in those days, it seems like we were drinking good beer and we had, yeah, it's crazy how much I drank before I was 21. Cause I remember we had 2 places we went to that would sell us beer because we knew the guys who owned the store. Well, we didn't know them, but they knew us enough that they could, we were just customers basically. So anyways, we would buy like good beer. We'd buy, like Guinness and just, we'd buy 6-packs of, Bass. I remember I drank a lot of Bass when I was 19. For some reason, I drank a lot of Bass and Guinness, just like all this like fucking quality beer. Damn, I had some, that's funny. That brings me back. I had some good drunks on Bass. I don't even know if they make Bass anymore, but Bass is like kind of a darker ale. And dude, I remember you fucking drink 3 or 4 ice cold Bass beers and it's just like, damn. Get a nice beer buzz going. Oh yeah, I remember that. I'm looking at my notes right now. So I remember buying weed from that Pakistani kid in London. The second time I was in London. And then Justin wanted to go to the Parliament. He's always trying to fucking go to these things. It's so funny because you watch his YouTube videos now and you could see how he would turn out like that. So anyways, he's like, oh, they're doing some special event at the Parliament and they're doing a meeting. It's like this thing where the public could go. And I remember we're standing in line to get into the Parliament for hours. There's all these people that want to walk through the Parliament and see whatever is it, the crown jewels or I forget, there was like these official people in a meeting or something. And anyways, we're standing in this line. And then the way the line is, it's like you're in this huge line and then it's a short corner. You turn and then there's the full checkpoint with the metal detectors and people checking your pockets. And like, I'm sitting in this line for 2 hours and then all of a sudden I'm like, damn, I was like, and I got paranoid. I'm 21 years old. In another country, I have weed on me. I'm going in this government building. They're checking everybody. So I was just like, I have to go to the bathroom. And I remember this British girl's like, oh, there's a bathroom right inside, mate. You just wait a little bit. This bathroom right inside. It's like, oh, no, I got to go to the bathroom this way, So I leave and I'm all paranoid because there's all these dudes with like machine guns and shit. These official fucking British guards or whatever. And they got like M16s. And they start fucking looking at me kind of funny because I leave the line. And I swear one of them was like on his radio and shit. And I'm just like, oh, damn. So I go to this Catholic church. Sanctuary. No, anyways. So I'm nervous. So anyways, I throw the weed away in the Catholic church trash can. because I was like, there's not going to be cameras in a fucking Catholic church. So I remember I threw a gram of weed away in the Catholic church and then went back in the line and fucking waited and then went through the whole thing and saw the whole thing. And they're like, where'd you go, dude? I was like, oh, I just threw away the weed. I just didn't want to, get caught with fucking weed at the Parliament, in London. So, yeah, that's in my notes. That's crazy, man. I'm so glad I don't smoke weed anymore. It just frees me up to travel and stuff, because it sucks when you have to have weed and you're traveling around. You like have to figure out how to buy it. It's always fucking illegal. It's always sketchy. It just kind of, it adds a lot of stress on the trip. So I reactivated my passport, so I'm ready to travel again, Look at all these $2 bills I have. 22 karat gold. I have the biggest coin and metal collection you would not even believe. These are all $2 bills. These are like 20 bucks each. This one's like 27, 30 bucks. Oh, is this Thomas Jefferson? Yeah, Thomas Jefferson. I got so much of this. You have no idea how much fucking silver and platinum I have. Okay, I want to get all this set. This one is, I have a little case for, I don't know, what year is this? Oh yeah, 1976. It's such a big coin. $1. I always remember, I really like the pounds. When you go to England, a pound is a pound, I guess it's kind of like a dollar. But anyways, these coins, they're so like solid. They're these very thick, dense coins of, 1 pound. And I forget if there's like 5-pound coins and 10-pound coins. There probably is, but I just specifically remember the 1-pound coins. And I remember just having so many of them. And just, you go to the bar and you pay in these pounds. And it was just so fun because in America, everything's, oh, here's a $20 bill. You give someone a 20 and they give you $9 back. It's just so boring. It's just like, oh, here's a $20 bill and you give me a bunch of 5s and 1s back. It's just so boring. And then in England, you pay with these pounds. And I just remember it being so, it just seemed, I don't know, it's just different. Ginger, you're resting, baby. You're resting, baby. Oh yeah, you sweet girl. She's so sweet. Okay, I think that's basically all the notes I wanted to get into. Okay, sorry. I did not see these usually comments are shit on YouTube. I'll try to read. If you are an American before you go to the bathroom, what are you in the bathroom? European. Yeah. Yeah, that's a funny one. Yeah. And you're Russian when you. Okay, I'll tell you how the joke goes. Close. The comment is close to the joke. So you're Russian when you go into the bathroom, and you're European when you're going to the bathroom. So what are you when you're Russian when you go into the bathroom. You're Finnish when you leave the bathroom. So what are you in the bathroom? You're European. That's an awesome joke. That's one of those jokes where everybody's heard so many times, but each time someone tells it, you're just like, oh shit, that's good. Yeah, so you're Russian when you go into the bathroom. You're Finnish when you leave the bathroom. What are you when you're in the bathroom? You're European. Thank you for the comment. That was a great comment. Tell me more about the cat, random person. Okay. Tell me more about the cat, random person. Most accurate, 2614. What's up? Oh my gosh. So yeah, sorry, I don't quite understand that comment, but appreciated it nonetheless. Um, Anyways, so yeah, I basically wrote a bunch of notes down about the two times I went to London when I was 20 and 21. I thought it was 19 and 20, and then I looked at my old passport and I checked the Heathrow stamps um, of entrance, and I did the math, and I was actually 20 years old the first time I went to London, and 21 the second time I went to London. Um, so basically reactivated my passport. I have the passport book and the passport ID. So I feel like I'm sort of getting ready to start doing some traveling again, which is kind of, um, why I think I'm going live talking about my London travels. And also, I want to do eventually, we'll probably do some sort of biography, like write a book, just a short book. I really wish that I had cell phones on those trips because I think I would have remembered so much more. So I kind of only remember just highlights of each trip. So this live video is kind of, something I could go back to in case, maybe I forget something. Oh yeah, I remember when the second time I went with Justin Random Land, Aisha, his wife at the time, and Matt. We were in a band, The Discarded. I don't think The Discarded I don't think we were really in The Discarded at that time, but that was, more or less original lineup to The Discarded. So it was basically the band going to London. But anyways, I remember, I don't know how, Justin would meet all these people online and stuff. So anyways, he knew this like professor, this girl, no, it was a wife of a professor, some, prestigious university professor. And I remember we stayed at their place for a night, and we got so fucking, sorry to cuss, we got so shitty drunk though. They had so much alcohol in that house, and there was like 10 people there, not including us, 4 people. So we were at this house in London, and there was all these people there, and we drank from like 2 o'clock in the afternoon to like 3 o'clock at night. And we were just all having the best time. We were having so much fun. Spirits were high. The conversations were good. These British people, they were all making fun of us, all in good fun, and telling us to come back, and they'd have, all these drugs for us and stuff, and just crazy shit, man. Oh my gosh, we just had so much fucking fun. I forget those people. If you guys ever see this video, thank you for your hospitality. That was an incredible time. And I remember they invited us back. They all wanted us to come back because we just all had so much fun together. I guarantee you Justin is really accurate with keeping tracks and logs of everything. I guarantee you if I contacted Justin and was like, what were the professor, remember he stayed at the professor's house for a night? Who was that? I guarantee you he'd be like, oh yeah, I still have his email. I still have his contact. I guarantee you he still knows who they are. Even though that was literally 20 years ago. So they were older. They were in their early 40s. So now, that was 20 years ago. So now they would be in their mid 60s. Time flies. Guys, I remember one night, Justin, Aisha, Matt, and I, we were out bar hopping, and there was this British dude. I swear, he had to been like a secret agent or something. He was just so strange. He was in this really nice suit, and he had this bald head, and he was so shitty drunk. So drunk. Drunker than drunk. And I remember he paid for this cab, and we were taking this taxi everywhere. He's like, don't worry about it. I got it. And he would be taking us to all these different bars, and he would pay for all the drinks, just whatever you wanted. Get doubles, goodbye doubles. Everything's doubles, and we were and I remember, when we met him, he was already shit-faced drunk, and we all went out drinking for like 6 hours. We were drinking nonstop throughout the whole night. We went to all these different places. And I remember when we met him, he's all, I just defecated behind the bar. I just took a shit. You know, he was like just shitting. He was just drunk. But anyways, I remember he just seemed so, he almost seemed like he was there to meet us or something. Like he was like an undercover, like trying to like see what we were doing in England or something. He seemed off. He honestly, he seemed like he was a Freemason or government or something. There's something was weird about him. Like it wasn't natural that we met him, and the way he didn't want us to leave. You know, he's like, no, no, let's keep drinking. Like he was almost like we felt like we were held hostage, and eventually we had to like we almost like escaped him, where we had to all make a plan, and we're like, okay, let's all leave like at the same time. We had to. And he was cool. I mean, he was kind of cool. He kind of made us feel uncomfortable, but I do remember that about that trip. That was the second time I went to London. But anyways, okay, I think that's it. I mean, I think I have some more on the notes, but I'm starting to gas out. I'm starting to get tired talking about London. Oh, okay. I'll end with this one. I remember when we were leaving London the second time, Justin, Aisha, Matt, and I, um, we almost missed our plane. And we would have missed our plane if it wasn't for me. We were at the Heathrow airport, and our plane was boarding, and it's a huge airport. We were super far from our gate, and the plane already boarded, actually. You know, we see it on the thing. It's already boarded. Everybody was already on the plane. So I had to run as fast as I can, and I had to run for like 10 minutes straight with my bag. And Justin and Aisha and Matt, they can't run as fast as me. We all know that. So they were like, Trevor, go. You're the only one that could fucking make this plane. So fucking mission impossible. I ran so fucking fast for so long, for like 10 minutes. Barely caught the little lady at the boarding gate. And I was like, hold that plane, you know, just like a movie, like hold the door, you know, and she did. She was like, oh, she's all, you almost missed your plane. Everybody's boarded on the plane already. And I was like, okay, but I have three more travel companions, and they're like 5 minutes off, so they had to hold, you know, the plane, and then eventually they came, and they were kind of like walk running, and anyways, we caught the plane. So I think that's that's all I got for you guys, man. That's all I got for y'all. That's London. 1 hour, 33 minutes, and 22 seconds is when we are discontinuing, coming to conclusion of this live of my two trips to London. Let's bring out the passport. Not the old passport. I know my room is so messy. I know. It's so messy. It's so messy. That's where I record all my music. My bass guitar under some boxes. I know. They play. Why is the bathroom light on? The hell. So, new passport. We have the brand new passport. So nice. You guys, United States government, you guys did a really good job on this passport. It's really nice. And the part where my picture is and everything, it's like a thick, you know, plastic page. It's just, this passport is made so much better than the old passport, obviously, that I had 21 years ago. And then I also have the passport ID, the little one. So that, I forget which one's expensive, but I remember I paid, I think, like $300 for both. One was only like 40 or 50 bucks, and then the other one was $250. So I forget if the book is the expensive one or if the passport ID is the expensive one, but one of them is the expensive one. So you're going to be looking at around like $350 for both of them, and maybe 5 to 6 weeks for it to arrive. And I recommend going to the post office. Don't go to those middleman companies where they're like, oh, we could get your passport and they do everything for you, because those are super shady and scammy. So just go to the fucking post office and fill out the form and just do it straight with the government. That's usually how you want to do anything when it comes to that kind of stuff. Just go straight and just work with the government. Don't fucking do this middleman shit. Okay, so okay, that's it. That's my live. I wanted to go live today. I'm probably look at icons. I'm probably I'm kind of losing steam with going live. It's kind of more for me to just kind of remember some shit, because again, like I said, I wish, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, those 5 years were so action packed with so much traveling, so much music stuff, so many like parties and get togethers in Claremont and just like drum circles, just all this crap, and was unable to document any of it because there's just no cell phones. And I have some pictures, you have pictures where you're at grandma's house and you're with your friend, like I have obviously some pictures, of those times, but not digital files so anyways, all right, y'all have a good one. Take care. Oh, family picture. Yep. Those are my godchildren. Grandma. Yeah, grandma. That's me when I was like 11 or 12. I think I was like 12 years old there. 12 years old there. Star David. Okay. Y'all have a good one. Take care. Have a good one. Have a great one. Ginger's ready to play. Okay, baby. We're gonna go for a W. We're gonna definitely play some. Yeah, her ears went up. She knows what walk means, and then I started saying WALK. Then she figured out what WALK means. Then I started saying W, and now she knows what W means. She's stretching. Good girl. Little stretcher. Okay, I'm gonna heat up my coffee. We're gonna. There's some of your toys, and then I'm gonna take her for a W. And I still got to work tonight, so anyways, you guys have a great one. Thanks for watching the live.